Yeah, my name is Shpirer. I think we did a small introduction. We were doing the tour. Anyway, I'm from Fortinet. I am Global Director for the 4G and 5G segment within the company. Fortinet is the number one cybersecurity vendor in the world. We're not as big as Airbus. We're not as big as NTT. We're 17 years old, $4 billion in revenue, 10,000 employees, and around 600,000 customers. And what we want to talk to you about very, very briefly is about private 5G. And very, very briefly, because this is a very large topic and we can spend the entire day just talking about it. And I'm sure that, first, you all heard about 5G. I guess some of you have 5G handheld devices. I don't know how much you are familiar with private 5G, because when we talk about 5G, normally we talk about public 5G. So, Carsten, maybe we should start with actually explaining a bit what is the difference between public and private 5G.
So it's easy, you get a full cake. But what is a cake? Yeah, so that is the question. Yeah. So 1 second, that was too fast. So the full cake. So we have public 5G, you all know. Yeah, you can use it here in parts of Germany, hopefully. Yeah, and yes, as an enterprise, you are looking for connectivity solutions. Yeah, and if you use public 5G, yes, you use a slice of a public network, yeah, for your enterprise needs, yeah, to transmit data, for instance, yeah. Yes, this public 5G, it's designed for the mass usage by public, of course, yeah. Everybody, yeah, a full stadium, yeah, for instance, yeah. And if you are an enterprise, you like to get control, yeah? And in the public 5G network, you get nearly no control on the parameters of the network, yeah? And enterprise data may be eaten by others. Maybe you do not know who is used it, yeah? It's a shared spectrum, and bandwidth, bandwidth is critical for any kind of digital things you do and you like to get some business done. Bandwidth is essential, you need it, yeah? And you need control over your bandwidth. Imagine you have a factory plant, yes, and there's a stadium around the corner, yeah? And one evening, yeah, there are 20,000 in the stadium, 5G users, and you are part of a public network with your enterprise, yeah? What does that mean to you? Is there any impact? Maybe, yeah? So you get only a little bit to eat from the 5G cake, but with NTT, we bring the full cake to the enterprise, yeah? So that's our task and mission, yeah? So we are focused on enterprise outcomes. How do we do that? We give enterprises a full control on the signal, on the spectrum, that means on the wireless data, on the air, yeah, there's nobody interfering you, yeah. On the propagation, even to all areas of your factory, yeah. On the bandwidth, of course, because it's your network, your private cellular network, and you have full control over all these things, yeah. You have low latency, you have high security, and we come back later to that, and we can tell you anytime, yeah, where this 5G device, yes, and that may be a robot or whatever, yeah, is located exactly on your ground, yeah. So because this is an advantage of the 5G technology. But technology is good, yes, on one hand, but it's important to have use cases on the technology. And I think Ronen has some good ideas how we find use cases, isn't it?
So what I think is, and I think it ties very well with what the gentleman from ALD said. Technology is here, technology will evolve. What you need to understand is, why am I doing it? Do I need it? And how do I need to manage it and evolve it? So the big question is not, oh, there's a new cool thing which is called private 5G. Let's try it out. Let's implement it and see what we can do with it. But the real question is 5G something that can help me achieve my goal, right? So the way to think about it is to start with the plan, with the strategic plan. What are my business goals, right? From a business perspective, an operational perspective, a production perspective. And then based on that, very high-level conception, define use cases. And use cases are very cool in the sense that they can take that very high-level concept and translate it into very concrete measurements that I can have in my own specific digital production environment. So, for example, an Airbus would be different from an AMG, would be different from another industrial company, right? They would have different environments, they would have different requirements, different constraints, and they might have similar use cases, but in order to achieve them, or similar, business goals, but in order to achieve them, the use cases will be completely different. So once you have these use cases defined, that you have a real concrete objective that you can measure, then you need that use case will define everything that follows, okay? So, for example, that use case will define what is the data that I'm looking for. What are the data sources that need to provide me this data? Are they just local on my premise? Are they also remote? So, for example, again, Airbus, they use data to digitize their manufacturing, but they also receive data from their airplanes, from their engines, while they're flying and on ground. Do I need that type of information to eventually meet my objective in that use case? What is the data type that I need? What are the requirements for that data? Do I have latency concerns? What about the bandwidth? Okay, what about jitter? Other type of characteristics that I need to provide for that specific data. That will immediately determine what type of connectivity I can provide. Do I need storage? What processing do I need? What applications? Are they my applications? Are there a third-party application? Where are they? Are they located on my premise? Are they located at a partner's cloud or premise? Are they located on the public cloud? Okay? And then what processing needs to be done? And what is the objective? What is the actionability of that? After I get all that information, all that data, I need to turn it into something which is actionable. That actionable can be knowledge, right? Turning data into knowledge. But it can also be, for example, coming back to the production line and telling a machine or process to do something else. Or going back to engineering, telling them, you have to change something, right? Because X, Y, Z. So all these factors, many of these factors will determine, does private 5G make sense? Because private 5G is not cheap, it's not complex, it's not easy, it's complex, it's new. So it's only worth thinking about and investing in if it really contributes to what you're trying to achieve in the first place. Now, when we're talking about private 5G, we're talking about a mobility technology, right? It's a wireless technology, right? And it's very important in industrial environment because we mentioned Industry 4.0, and in Industry 4.0, connectivity, first of all, is extremely important. Everything needs to be connected, but also mobility, right? I don't remember if it was the CEO of Siemens or Bosch, anyway, both are German companies, so I'm safe, said that in the factory of the future, the only fixed things are going to be the ceiling and the walls and the floor. Everything else is going to be mobile, right? So when thinking about mobility, about wireless, Carsten, we think about, of course, Wi-Fi, because Wi-Fi has been there for many, many years. 5G is the new block on the kid. So can you tell us, what is the difference? Is 5G going to replace Wi-Fi? Are they going to live together? No. What is going to happen?
No, we do not want to replace Wi-Fi. Yeah, Wi-Fi has its role. Yeah, it's a great thing. It's easy. Yes, anybody can use it. So it's accessible to anybody. Yeah, you can give a voucher to your visitor. Yeah, great thing. Yeah, but is it okay for your robots? Really? Yeah, I do not think so, because it's when you look on the technical differences, you see here we have some things that only private 5G can do, yeah, that you cannot do with Wi-Fi, yeah. And we have some examples here at the bottom. What could be things that can be done? And when you look on robots, automated guided vehicles, for instance, yeah, yes, you could do it and try it with Wi-Fi, but you do not have this, very low latency that offers you the possibility to remotely control in any kind, with a human being or with an AI, the robot in the field. Because if you have longer latency, then you have the decisions came too late to the robot. Yeah, so it is when you drive remotely a robot as a human being on the field with high latency, it's like you are drunk. Yeah, so that's no good idea, because some customers that I know have a robot of the weight of 70 tons. Yeah, so it's not good to drive 70 tons when you are drunk. Yeah, so this is just an example. Yeah, and Wi-Fi spectrum is full. Yes. I have one customer that has a really large facility, and he tells me, Carsten, I have 10,000 wireless access points around me. Yeah, I have no control on the spectrum. I have no control on the data throughput. It works. Sometimes, yeah, but we have very large machines. We need to digitize things, yeah, and we need full control over that, yeah, because if we have no control and our crane, yeah, is not doing what we expect, yeah, we have a major damage, yeah. So we need a private network to do so. Please come over to us and tell us how to do that, yeah. So Wi-Fi has advantages, yes, and you would never give a guest access to your robot. Or you do not give your SIM card for your private network, and you need your SIM card already to somebody visiting you. But your robots in your production, in a safe environment, yeah, absolutely the right thing to have a private 5G network. So some things, yes, rely on are the same. Yeah, you can use it for a very large site. You have these mission critical use cases near to the production. You have reliable network. So a lot of topics why it is a good reason to yes, go with a private 5G network. Yeah.
So So I think what it's really, as I mentioned, it's the use case. The use case will determine, can I use Wi-Fi? Can I use, in some cases, Ethernet, wired, because I don't need mobility? Or the use case would require also a wired implementation, or do I need 5G, private 5G? In most cases, or in many cases, we're going to see a hybrid environment where I can use this, I can use this, I can use this in the mixture, okay? Now, we've talked a lot about, we haven't talked about security yet, so that's the exciting thing. But Carsten, maybe you can give us two examples of where you actually implemented in Germany private 5G.
Yeah, that's easy. So NTT is building and built the largest networks in Germany, the largest private 5G networks. We started with Cologne-Bonn Airport as the biggest network last year, and we had some things that need to be achieved. So the problem was to get connection away from the central building at the forest, where you see there's a fence, and we need full control at the fence. There is no connection to any network at the fence, because this is the Warner Heide. This is really outside is an urban area, But on the other hand, the airport wants to do use cases at the fence, and said, please, let's drive a robot to check if the fence is okay or not, because it's a lawful thing that you separate the land side from the air side, nobody can go over the fence must be checked if it's still okay, or if a hole is in there, And we will set up a robot that will scan the fence all the time, compares images 1 hour ago and now, Is there a difference? Is there a change? Via a software solution that we do together with Microsoft, and come to the result to tell the guys that go to the Jeep today all the time around the clock, there's a problem, drive out, So they can reduce these drivings at the fence permanently to a minimum, and there are savings for the environment and in the cost, So that's just one idea what to do, And this year, we made it a little bit bigger. Yeah, you have seen it maybe in the press in July, so last month. Yeah, we won the Frankfurt Airport for a complete airport coverage. This will be again the biggest network in Germany. Yeah, and yes, there we have the task. Yeah, old expensive trunk radios. You know, yeah. Talk to somebody on the airfield, yeah, and we have the situation today. A lot of systems need to be controlled. The pushback devices, the generators, the air pressures, yeah, all these things you need to operate an airplane like from Airbus, yeah. So, and they have all IoT SIM cards in it, yeah, to control. Are they okay? Will they do their task? Yeah, and we will replace these paid SIM cards monthly basis to an external carrier to a one-time fee SIM card that owns the Fraport operator of the airport. Yeah, so these are two use cases, and we expect a lot more use cases. And so maybe the robot goes to Frankfurt. So these are the things that we do at the airport, but it's a very secure environment, and security is the key for that.
Yes, so when we talk about private 5G, we talk about normally about an industrial environment. These are the verticals that are actually adopting private 5G, and they're doing it because there are clear use cases, there are clear benefits of doing private 5G, which are not possible or very, very complex to do with any other technology. And of course, when we're talking about 5G as enabling these use cases, it's critical that these are, it's important, it's understandable that these are critical use cases, and therefore, the availability and the services that that private 5G network provides must be there all the time, right? Imagine that you are building some of your production line based on 5G connectivity, and then something happens with the 5G network or the service that it provides, and you're suddenly, some of your production is being halted or being harmed, right? So this is extremely critical. So what I've outlined here is a very high-level view of a private 5G network ecosystem, industrial ecosystem, and I'm talking about an ecosystem. Why? Because industries, enterprises, don't build a private 5G because 5G is nice, right? They're doing it because they want to achieve a use case. They want to achieve a result which is possible with 5G. But the fact that you implement 5G is not enough. By just putting 5G there doesn't mean that you have achieved your use case. What you have to do is you have to create an ecosystem which is built around 5G, which is 5G aware, to achieve that. That includes the devices themselves, right? Industrial IoT devices, 5G capable devices. It includes the industrial control system. It includes the industrial IoT platforms. It includes the industrial applications that you are going to use. It includes partners, integrators that are going to be part of that ecosystem, and so on and so forth. So when we think about security in these environments, we shouldn't just talk about, oh, we need to secure a 5G infrastructure. We need to secure everything. We need to secure a use case, end-to-end use case, because if one component is secure, but the other components are not secure, then the entire use case is not secure, and therefore it can't fail, right? So what we have here, we have the devices, we have the actual 5G system, right, which includes the radio, includes the core, includes all these different technologies that we don't want to go into. We have the industrial control systems on place. We have the operation and management of the 5G network itself. And then we have connectivity, right, to external entities, right? You might say, I'm going to use my private 5G completely isolated. I have not yet seen that happening, right? All the private 5G implementation that I know, except for defense, are connected. They're connected to the enterprise network, and in many cases, they're connected to the external network via partners, integrators, and so on and so forth, right? So I might have third party connected, I might have my enterprise network connected, and I have what is known as the multi-access edge compute, or MEC. This is where I'm going to put my industrial applications and tools that are needed to provide low latency use cases. And it needs to be as close as possible to the devices themselves. So they will be on-premise, right? But these environments normally are not just mine. I have other applications there, other tools there that are partner or third party. So this is a multi-tenant environment. Okay. So when we talk about security, of course, we have to talk about risks. Now, I won't go into the risks. There are many risks. There are many potential risks that can harm that ecosystem. I just want to make one comment. 5G is the most secure wireless technology we ever had, right? But there's still a lot which needs to be taken care of. And also specifically because we're talking about ecosystem, right? So I won't go over that. There are many different type of threats and risks that are associated. But what we need to do in thinking about securing such environment are few simple, nothing revolutionary steps. One is to secure the infrastructure itself, the 5G system. So the radio, the core, any exposure points that the system has, okay? The other thing is to secure the MEC environment. This is key. This is where we're going to have our mission critical applications, right? If somebody gets hold of that or arms that, the entire use case is gone. The fact that we have 5G now to deliver data and provide the services is not useful, right? So secure the applications themselves, secure the environment that they are working in. It's a cloud environment, a private cloud environment. Secure the API into working, because this is an API world. Everything is done via APIs. Another thing is, which is not evident, is this. Industrial IoT security. Today, when you're talking about in industrial environments, there is what is known as a Purdue model. The Purdue model is where most industrial companies, it's an architecture of actually securing an industrial environment. The fact that you introduce 5G, private 5G, actually has the potential of breaking that model. So what you have to do is to make sure that you implement the Purdue model within your 5G network. That's another thing, again, very important. Many customers don't think about it. And of course, to provide the overall management and automation from a security perspective around it. So again, very high level, just to give you an idea, and afterwards we can go into details around everything in the round table. So, to conclude, I think a question is, well, it's private. Yes, it's private 5G, but it's 5G, right? It's the same technology. So why wouldn't I go with a traditional incumbent 5G provider, right? Why wouldn't I go with Vodafone, with Deutsche Telekom, with Telefonica, with all these great guys that can provide me private 5G? There are several good reasons why not to, and I'll touch upon some of them, and I'll let Carsten finalize. Public 5G, although it's the same technology, is very different than public 5G. Public 5G is customized to your environment, to what you want to achieve as an enterprise, and every environment is different. And in order to achieve what you want to achieve, you need to have a company that understands enterprises, not as consumers with mobile phone and SIM cards, but as physical industrial processes, understand their goal, their business goal, their operational needs, constrain, and allow them and help them to achieve what they are trying to achieve. And that is what you have with this joining together of NTT, which provides these type of services and capabilities to enterprise, all kinds of enterprise around the world, and the same with Fortinet. And the fact that both of us work together, you can have not only a private 5G in industrial environment, you can have a secure private 5G in industrial environment that combines both the 5G and the operational technology around it.
Absolutely. So we offer end-to-end ideas and solutions. Yeah? And maybe some of you have read in the press, we are going together with our sister company NTT Data, yeah, and form a new company soon, yeah. And yes, NTT Data is focused on consulting, on software development, yeah, all these things, yeah. We are focusing on infrastructure. We have a global network. We have global data centers, yeah. Together, we can offer really an end-to-end solution from consulting, implementation, management to the operation. Yes, and we have proven we have built the largest private 5G networks in Germany, and I'm sure we will build some more soon. Yeah. So if you are interested in this kind of technology, yeah, to enable your digital processes, just come to our table and let's discuss. And thank you very much. Ronen.
Thank you.
Okay.